Hey everybody, another video, Just Sports with John. Today I'm going to be doing a couple quick hits around the different sports leagues. A lot of things have come out over the last couple days. So I'm going to start with the NFL, and Roger Goodell basically came out and apologized in response to a player videos that many people were asking, what if I was George Floyd? And in response to that, Goodell came out and talked about how they were wrong to oppress the silent and peaceful protest that players were doing, and that they were with them and wanted to make a difference, and that Black Lives Mattered. Um, he didn't specifically mention Kaepernick, but he did point out a couple different, in general, scenarios that took place. It was a relatively short video, I think like a minute or something long, but it did address at least two of the three issues the players brought up, and partially addressed a third one. He was talking about the flag and kneeling, and Colin Kaepernick or talking about kneeling on the flag, and a lot of other players in response talked more about that. What I found interesting is a lot of you that know me, I never talked about players and a flag. For me, it was always that, they were being a part of the anthem. They were being a part of everybody, even if they were doing it differently. They were still there. They were still participating. They were still being together with everybody. They were just making a show of difference to bring to light that they were suffering, that they were going through something, that they were hurt. It was a little bit different for every person that you would ask or talk to, but they were there, they were present, and they were still trying to participate. And part of what they were doing was to help draw attention to themselves, to the race, so that people would pay attention to what was going on. The only time I ever had an issue was when somebody like Nate Washington, and I think there was another player too, who stayed in the locker room, and this was before the NFL brought up either be out there or stay in the locker room. But you had players that weren't even participating, wouldn't even show up, wouldn't even state their cause, and to me, that wasn't right. Just because I don't know what you're doing. Are you saying that you absolutely didn't want to be a part of things, that you don't care, that you've given up? And so I'm glad to see more of a focus being brought to light, that the players who were participating in the anthem and just bringing to light a cause, we're actually focusing on that, and people realizing that that wasn't wrong. There was nothing against that. They weren't actually targeting the flag. So hopefully that'll continue to progress, and we can convince people to pay attention and to be a part of an event so that you can get your point across. And hopefully the more important thing is people like myself who are white will listen and participate and be a part of this. So I thought it was very important that the NFL came out, specifically Goodell came out, and I hope that this does lead to more things for equality for everybody. And onto the NBA, 22 teams, so we talked a little bit about this in a video I did, 22 teams, all being based in Orlando, Florida, the Disney Wide World Sports Complex. A couple other things on this is win percentage is going to decide standings. And they're still discussing options to replace players if somebody gets hurt or somebody gets tested for coronavirus. So those things are still being talked about, but it seems like their season and playoffs will resume here pretty quickly. Kevin Durant will not be coming back. He's already said that he's not. I think it's a pretty smart decision. The last time he got rushed back, he ended up having that Achilles tear. So he might as well just wait for the next season, which is, probably going to be until December, but still, he might as well just heal up for that. And then going back to race relations for a little bit, Greg Popovich, long-time coach of the Spurs, talked about, his quote was, "It's up to white people to be the ones to speak out and be the ones to affect this change, because the black community has been doing this for a super long time." I think he said 400 years. Um, I could be wrong on that, but for a long time. And so he's saying that it's going to take people of white to speak up and help to make this change. The only thing I would add about that is that white people need to be out there with Black Lives Matter, with black groups, NCAA, NAACP, and groups like that, and be out there with them to help make the difference. We need to be in solidarity with people on this in order to make the difference. So I would just add that, and it'll be interesting to see what these NBA teams do and how they go about doing this as their season progresses here. Moving on to Major League Baseball, you talk about a group that just doesn't have it together. They're still not on the same page with even starting their season, let alone addressing issues with racism. So, yeah, it's a shame Major League Baseball is just a complete mess right now, in my opinion. NHL, they've, 24 teams are going to be in their playoffs or season or however. They're going to have a 5-game qualifying round, 4 teams, and then the 4 playoff round will still be best of 7. They're still working out health and safety. It seems like they don't really have a timeline necessarily to get all this down. So NHL will probably start a little later than NBA, it looks like, but it does seem like NHL is progressing for a comeback here. So it's nice to see sports trying to return, although my concern is that it seems like some numbers in some states, unfortunately in my home state of Tennessee, numbers are going back up due to massive gatherings and things like that have happened without controls, and more specifically people just pretending that everything is all over, not wearing masks and not washing hands and sanitizing and things like that. So it's kind of scary as somebody who is essentially a healthcare worker, taking care of people with physical and mental disabilities, that I just see people going out and doing all these things and then possibly going back and working in a home of somebody that I take care of that's vulnerable. So the end of this video, I'm just gonna, any of you who are watching it, any of you who have family members know of people who are just going out there and not wearing masks in crowded places, not washing their hands in crowded places, not keeping their distance in public, more crowded places, please tell them to rethink that. You got a lot of people who are vulnerable, who are trying to stay at home, trying to stay healthy, but the rest of us may be returning to work and then giving this along to somebody else who may be giving it to them. So just please keep that in mind. We're all like with everything going on, I'll just say, we're all like pebbles being dropped in a lake. It's going to make a wave. It's going to make a difference. So please remember that as we go forward in this time, and please be nice and kind to one another. Please treat everybody with human dignity, human equality. It's not about just you and what's comfortable in your life. It's about what we all need to do to make each other's lives better every single day. And I wish you all the best. I love you all. And please like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.